Before I talk about the subject of this video, I have a hypothetical I want you to think about. Trust me, it will be relevant later. Let's say you walk into a restaurant and order loaded fries, and the waiter hands you a plate of chicken, fries, and veggies, all cooked and seasoned to perfection. But there's this sauce drizzled on top that tastes like straight up juice from the caboose.
Sweet Jesus.
You can kind of eat around it and taste the delicious food underneath, but when some of that diarrhea sauce inevitably gets into your mouth, you will gag at the very least. Now, if you want any of that to make sense, you're just gonna have to watch the entire video. Now that I've done my best to bait everyone hook, line, and sinker into sticking around until the end, let's talk about Watch Dogs 2. Being the sequel to Watch Dogs, it improves on that open world hacker game formula in almost every way, and it's at this point that I should probably mention that it wouldn't be a bad idea to watch the video I made on Watch Dogs 1 before this one because it'll add context to some of the things I'm going to say. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. The freedom you had in the first game to approach objectives any way you see fit didn't change at all. Just like in the first game, you can go for the frontal assault approach and just kill everyone with a gun, and also just like in the first game, enemies don't have wall hacks, which makes combat way more fun for the exact same reasons I mentioned in my Watch Dogs 1 video. The ability to flank alone makes it more interesting, although I'm pretty sure Marcus has significantly less health than Aiden because he feels about as resilient as gas station toilet paper. You know, the kind that always breaks and makes you accidentally finger your asshole? That's about how tough he is. Whoa, are you good, bro? You kinda just smacked the floor like a sack of potatoes. Wait a minute. Oh, damn. That was a roll of Charmin. Oh, fuck. This change was almost certainly done to encourage the other playstyles since that's where most of the gameplay improvements actually are. For starters, you have a taser now that functions like the tranq gun in Metal Gear Solid but way less cool. It lets you non-lethally incapacitate enemies from a distance, with the trade-off being that they'll eventually wake up confused about why they were sleeping on the ground and wondering who pissed in their pants. It was me. I pissed in his pants. This makes no-kill runs quite a bit easier since you don't have to get up close and personal with every enemy. Also, the profiler has been changed to this weird hacker vision that highlights tagged enemies similar to Eagle Vision in Assassin's Creed, with the added benefit of letting you see and hack cameras and certain other objects through walls, whereas before that required a clear line of sight. All of these changes definitely add new ways to play, but the biggest difference in the gameplay loop by far comes from the RC jumper and the drone. The uses for the drone are pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Ubisoft letting players carpet bomb San Francisco like it's a terrorist hideout in the Middle East was a shocking decision to say the least, but I respect it. After all, California is basically a third world country that needs to be eradicated, so why shouldn't I be allowed to drone strike some hipster's house?
Yeah, I got your wife sucking on these big country balls.
Hello? What do you mean it's not that kind of drone? It's just for recon? Whoa, what does my mother have to do with this? You think she did what? With a horse? Okay, motherfucker, I've had enough of your attitude. Meet me in the Walmart parking lot at 10 p.m. tonight. We're gonna settle this like men.
The next day.
He beat my ass. While the drone mostly just serves as a more convenient way of scouting out a location than hopping through cameras like in the first game, the RC jumper is a total game changer. Like the drone, it's small and hard to see, kind of like my dick, but it has the added benefit of being able to interact with most of the hackable objects that require a physical touch. So you can do entire missions without ever actually stepping foot into hostile territory, which is very satisfying. And once you've accomplished your objective, you don't have to worry about escaping since you can recall it back to your inventory with a single button press. The downside to this is that you can't take out enemies, so you have to do your best to avoid them, which balances out the difficulty quite nicely. The hacking has also been improved. Instead of every hackable object only having one function, most of them can be manipulated in a few different ways now. For example, a lot of the objects used for takedowns now have the option to be used as lures, and you can set them to detonate when someone gets close like a proximity mine. There's also just more stuff to hack now. Like these motion detectors or whatever these things are have been added to the game and can be temporarily disabled if you have the perk for it. But probably the biggest change is that you can hack cars to control them remotely. And this is usually the part where most people say something like, "Oh my god, this is so terrifying. Could you imagine if this was real?" Meanwhile, I fucking wish it was real. Probably twice a week, I get stuck behind some fat old wrinkly bastard driving 10 under in his grandpa spec Buick on my way home from work. And I'd give anything to be able to hack into their car and steer it into a ditch. The dumbest part is that I literally live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. There's no traffic here. The only thing in front of them is the wide open road. So genuinely, what the fuck are these people doing? Holy shit! With the gameplay loop being more or less a total upgrade of what it was in Watch Dogs 1, you'd think this game would be more enjoyable than the previous one. And you'd be wrong. I have a couple of nitpicks I want to get out of the way before I tear this game to shreds though. First of all, if you disable this setting in the graphics menu, the game runs horribly, and leaving it on makes it look a lot blurrier to my eyes. Also, the new side activities blow harder than my ass after washing down gas station food with a white monster. You know what I really want to do in a game about hackers taking on an evil corporation? I want to take cringy selfies and post them to knock off Instagram. And after that, I want to hop onto Legally Distinct rideshare app and drive people around while listening to quirky millennial dialogue. Yeah, that's so much better than the gang hideouts and criminal convoy missions that didn't return from the first game. And speaking of quirky millennial dialogue, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. The reason I don't enjoy this game nearly as much as the first one, despite the better gameplay, is because Marcus is a dogshit protagonist. In fact, every single character in this game sucks, and all the dialogue sounds like it was written by someone with a septum piercing and a bachelor's degree in media literacy from the University of Reddit. Oh my god, I can't believe my Uber driver had a hula girl bobblehead on his dashboard. That's like cultural appropriation. What a douchebag, am I right? Anyway, did you catch us on Piker's last stream? Oh my god, he is such a cutie. He can liberate me anytime. Oh my god, oh no, I'm so bad. Speaking of liberating, when are we going to liberate this country from all the fascists? I mean, just the other day, my coworker told me he doesn't think doctors should be prescribing HRT to kids. Like, oh my god, what a Nazi! We should round up all the people like that and just kill them. Let's just take a look at the main cast real quick. You have token black guy, quirky millennial hipster, guy whose entire personality is having full-blown autism, annoying girl boss complete with septum piercing and dyed hair, and last and most certainly fucking least, this guy.
Behold, our very own open source research app. So, like, all of us here pool vulnerabilities that we find, and we encourage everyone to share their work, their research, etc.
Okay, so what's the research app do?
Widen our skill set? Make us irresistible to the gender of our choice?
What, so it's like a I know Kung Fu kind of deal?
If Kung Fu was a gender and not so 1999? Absolutely. Behold, the wonders of technology.
A 3D printer?
This is the army of printers. It is capable of pumping out an arsenal of lethal weapons down.
Seriously?
Yep. Once you master it, voila! Hipster merchant of death. It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
Still don't believe me? Let's look at a scene from the very beginning of the game.
So that's him.
He's got a gun. Is that a problem?
Well, problems are why you keep me around, right?
These people are supposed to be an underground group of hackers hell-bent on taking down the evil corporate overlords that are ruining the city with their privacy-invading software and are heavily protected by their trigger-happy private security team. And yet, they're worried about their new recruit having a gun. Motherfucker, I would hope he has a gun and he better know how to use it. This is the new DedSec, by the way. What used to be a creepy, faceless hacker group that took clear inspiration from real-life groups like Anonymous has been reduced to a bunch of quirk-chungus theater kids. I dare you to look at this group of people right here and tell me they don't look like they just got back from happy hour at fucking Weenie Hut Juniors. Their base of operations is literally in the basement of some nerdy-ass board game shop, and it looks like this. That right there should tell you everything you need to know about the writing in this game, but I want to focus on Marcus, the character you play as. In Watch Dogs 1, I always took the non-lethal path whenever possible because I felt like that's what Aiden would do. The game's writing pushed me to take the road less traveled, and I ended up having a lot more fun as a result. But in Watch Dogs 2, I don't believe for a second that Marcus has enough hair on his nuts to do even half the shit the player is allowed to do in this game. So I ended up taking the path of least resistance more often than not, which usually meant shooting everyone in the head with a suppressed weapon, and playing the game like this basically trivialized it. Now, the 3 people who watch my videos regularly might know that I'm usually not one to write off a game with a bad story or annoying characters if the gameplay is solid. In fact, I would prefer that over a game with a great story and boring gameplay. However, when the playable character is a bitch-made hipster on top of every spoken word of dialogue being cringy millennial trash, it's very difficult for me to enjoy that game. So I actually ended up enjoying Watch Dogs 2 a lot less than its predecessor despite the gameplay improvements. Aiden Pierce was the kind of guy who intentionally got himself locked up to get close to a witness and scare him into silence before escaping prison. Whereas if Marcus got locked up, he'd end up being someone's bitch. Now be honest with me, which one of these characters would you rather play as in a game like Watch Dogs? It's like that plate of loaded fries from the beginning. The gameplay underneath is pretty good, but it's drenched in so much cringe that it makes it very difficult to enjoy. This game was the beginning of the downfall of Ubisoft. The first signs of all the woke DEI bullshit that would come later are present in this game, and we all just ignored it back then because we didn't know any better. In fact, it still has very positive reviews on Steam to this day. Had we pushed back harder, we might very well be living in a different timeline. One where Assassin's Creed Shadows wasn't a blatant attempt at pushing an agenda instead of just being a good game. But that's enough ranting for one video, so in conclusion...
I mean, it's alright, like...
Oh, and by the way, my next video is going to be on Black Flag Resync, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see that. But, spoiler alert.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
And she squirts the ball!